What inspired you from an early age to want to apply these principles into how you've lived your life?
Well, I don't want to brag on myself, but I think that my early life as a child and as a young person was influenced heavily by my mother, who was a registered nurse. We lived in a community in South Georgia. All of our neighbors were African American. It was during the time of racial discrimination in America, where separate but equal was legalized by the Supreme Court and by the Congress and by General Sotalto Mores. But my mother treated everyone the same, and she avoided the stigma of reaching out to black neighbors because she was in the medical profession. And I think maybe I derived some aspect of concern for poor and neglected people from the way my mother treated our black neighbors, who quite often had no possibility of paying her for her professional services. But we were aware, maybe subconsciously at that time, of the kind of service that she was giving and the gratification she had in being able to serve the people in need. So I think maybe that was one of the origins of my participation now in the kind of work that the Carter Center does. So the Carter Center has really tapped into what we've learned from others in the last 25 or 30 years. We've decided to concentrate on health care. We deal primarily with so-called neglected diseases. By definition, they are not known, and you might say in the rich or developed world. We deal with dracunculiasis, with lymphatic filariasis, with schistosomiasis, with trachoma, with onchocerciasis. And these are not diseases that now afflict people in most of the world where the money exists, but they afflict adversely hundreds of millions of people still in the tropical areas of South America and all of Africa. So what we do is to go into the most remote villages that are most destitute and among the forgotten and neglected and suffering people, and work directly with them on an individual basis. And I think it's the person-to-person contact that arouses in any sort of benefactor a sense of compassion and love and care, and an exemplar of the general principle of public health service, where the benefactors who are trained in health care, quite often at a financial sacrifice, go to meet people that they've never known before, that they may never see again. And they go there because these people have not cried out for help, quite often not even knowing that help is available. A registered nurse or a doctor that's working in Ethiopia or Burkina Faso or Niger, they don't quite often like to talk about themselves and the sometimes financial and personal sacrifice they make to deliver services. But to bring it out into open and publicly connect, the words compassion, love, is very important. But it also lets the public know that there is a cadre who are in the most remote villages on earth working in ways that are quite often unpublicized and unrecognized, but I think maybe it might bring additional support from people to their very worthwhile projects. Well, I have an opportunity to do that. Last week I was in China, for instance, and I spoke to several thousand Chinese students in the Yunnan province and the university there. And then just last night, but right before this interview, I spoke to maybe 3,000 students at Emory University. And in both cases, the students asked me what are the elements of success in life and what should they do as maybe a freshman or a senior in college to expand their lives to encompass the influence, beneficial influence to more people. So I think that to bring to the forefront the inspired lives of people like Dr. Bill Foege and Jim Grant, who transformed UNICEF, and Bill Foege, who helped to wipe out smallpox and who devotes his life to helping others still. These kinds of stories or biographies presented to the minds of these young people searching for ideals and examples of true, I would say, success in life in every possible aspect of life, like Grant and Foege exhibit, is very good and very helpful, because the young people are searching for some way to personalize their innate idealism their innate desire to serve others. And quite often it's one of the most difficult things for a deeply committed person in a religious life is to put their religious faith into practical application and to see these examples of heroes in the field of public health or international service to those who are in need is indeed filling a practical need to connect this generation in an inspirational way with their future lives, based on the success and contributions and service of those who've gone before. It's an exhilarating adventure, quite often unpredictable, but always paying more rich dividends to those who provide the service than we ever expend in potential financial or other sacrifice.